If you would like to secure a healthy long-term relationship with someone, then here are some good ways that can allow this to come into fruition. Hi, my name is Yunova Talva. I've been teaching and practicing dating and relationship advice since 2024. If you want to get closer, you need to invite that other person to travel the world with you. So this couple that I met last night, they're doing just that. One guy was South Korean, his wife was Turkish, and they were traveling the world together. And I just so happened to bump into them. And they were telling me about their experience about break-ins and stuff like that. But when you are traveling the world together, you have what I call a reason to be together. Because if you checked out my little course called The Love Triangle, I go into a little bit of detail about why someone needs to be with you. The why is so important. You need to have a reason to be together. So if you're just kind of sitting at home a lot of the time and you're not really going out there seeing the world, seeing museums and stuff, like me personally, I have gone to museums and stuff. It's not about going to the museum itself. It's about needing that reason to be together. And it has to be something that the other party values. It has to benefit their self-interest, right? So traveling the world together is a fantastic way to get to know each other a lot better. There's probably going to be some conflicts arise, especially if you're in more of the dating phase, but that is okay. Another great way of securing a long-term relationship is to be friends for like a significant period of time without forcing a relationship to come into fruition. So just be that person's friend and let things play out naturally. Naturally, this person may or may not gravitate towards you. It just depends on how much you're willing to kind of flirt and throw in a couple of nuggets without getting butthurt if you get rejected. A lot of people put their foot down, they put their ultimatums out there and say, all or nothing, my way or the highway. But that's incredibly selfish. Imagine if someone did that to you and you're just not in a position that enables you to agree to that deal, because that's what relationships are, they're deals. How can you agree to a deal consensually if you feel like you're being forced to make the agreement? So don't make ultimatums. Don't put your foot down and draw a line in the sand and make all these boundaries, because boundaries are supposed to be something that you protect yourself with and not something that you enforce on the other party. And you want to show your true colors, especially during adversity, for the long term, as friends. And this means it's perfectly okay to have disagreements, maybe even arguments, maybe even show a bit of your ugly dark side a little bit. And here is a third tip, okay? This is more after entering into a long-term relationship or just entering into a relationship in general. You do not want to be narcissistic. A person may likely stay with you if you've been narcissistic for some time. You could even be traveling together. You could even be friends for a long time. And the more you get romantically invested in each other, your narcissistic tendencies start to reveal themselves. Now, this is something that you may need to work on. You might not even realize you're doing this. The hints that you might be doing this is if you constantly see the other person cry, you constantly swear, call them names, you're just really mean. And you think that you're so justified in yourself. You call the other person ugly, you criticize their outfit, their attire. But if you want to remain in this long-term relationship, the narcissistic tendencies has to stop. And this will be very challenging to overcome. Probably even more challenging than entering into the relationship itself. Probably even more challenging than trying to convert a friend into a romantic lover. So the best way to heal yourself from narcissistic tendencies is to stop paying attention to what the other person does, in a sense, and focus more on yourself, right? And try to heal yourself. And you are able to self-restrain yourself during moments of adversity. This is what I read in a book last night. It actually kind of blew me away a little bit, because I've never read this anywhere else. When are you able to practice the art of forgiveness? A lot of people tend to not forgive readily or easily. It seems to go right past their head. But forgiveness can only be practiced when shit goes down, right? So when shit goes down, that's actually an opportunity to practice something like forgiveness. You know? Or if your business crumbles and you failed, this is a moment to practice acceptance, right? I recall acceptance being a pretty important part in my own growth journey. But yeah, you can't really practice certain things in life until shit goes down. So when shit goes down, you definitely need to have a positive attitude. We must not blame the other party. We must not accuse them and assume things of them, you know? And yeah, if you want to stay in that long-term relationship, you've got to not paint them as a monster or a villain, but you've got to paint them as human, and you've got to paint them as amazing. Someone worth listening to, paying attention to, someone worth observing. Hope this helped. If you would like to give me a follow, do that. Check out my little course in my bio that I've mentioned if you would like to look at a couple more reasons of why being together is important in terms of needing a reason.